Hey, I'm Kevin. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to mount a canoe to a vehicle. First, I'm going to show you an ideal situation where you have roof racks, and second, a less than ideal situation with no roof racks at all. So to me, this is the ideal situation. You've got a factory installed roof rack. We have some aftermarket crossbars, and they've got special adapters to cradle and hold your canoe in place. So I'm going to attach the canoe onto this rack two different ways. First way, I'm going to use a strap that's made specifically for the task. It's a piece of webbing with a self-tightening clip covered with a piece of rubber, which means if I throw it over the vehicle and it hits the other side, it won't scratch the paint or break a window. And the other way to attach it is with a length of rope, and I recommend getting a good, strong, thick rope that will hold the canoe securely. I've seen other videos where people use really, really thin rope. It may be rated strongly, but use a good thick rope. Remember, there's safety involved here. You don't want that canoe flying off and hurting someone else. So before I bring my canoe to the vehicle, I'm going to put my strap underneath, and I'm going to throw it over the other side, and I'm going to throw this side over as well. There. Same thing with the rope. So the straps are quite simple. I just adjust them like this so the buckle is a little bit higher. I put the webbing underneath the bracket, put the webbing through my buckle, and I cinch down. That holds it in place, and I'll secure this with a couple half hitches. Now for the rope, I'm going to make sure the one end goes underneath, and I'm going to tie a bowline. Whenever I tie something with a lot of stress on it, I like to use a bowline. So I'm going to use that bowline, I'm going to put it underneath, I'm going to pull it tight like that. No problems. Okay, now I'm going to tie a trucker's hitch. I reach up high, make a loop, go underneath, back up to my loop, pull the rope through, and secure it tightly. That's not going anywhere. I'm going to put a bow through here, pinch where my loop is, and pull this up nice and tight. Now I can release this trucker's hitch with a slip knot, and I don't want that to slip, so I'm going to take my bow and tie a half hitch with it. At least one half hitch, if not two. That's not going anywhere. And I'll tie up my slack. Now this canoe is on there really tight to the roof rack and it's not going anywhere, but I would never trust only two attachments. So I'm going to put a safety line in the front. I'm going to show you a trick how I do that. So underneath the hood I've installed a couple of webbing loops, one on either side. It's a loop of webbing with a grommet in it and bolted right to the body of the vehicle. I'll lift that up and close my hood. And over here, I'm going to finish this side with a trucker's hitch. Make a loop, come back, cinch it down. I'll cinch this down, but I'm not going to cinch it super tight. This is just the safety line to hold the canoe in case either of the other two straps fail. For added safety, you can always add a fourth line on the back. Alright, no roof racks. This is definitely a less than ideal situation, but I'm going to show you how to mount a canoe properly here anyway. And to increase the difficulty, I've got an antenna here that I cannot remove. So because I don't have a roof rack, I'm going to use these foam pads. They're made to carry a canoe. I'm going to clip this right onto the gunnel, and I'm going to space them out where I think they need to go to fit the vehicle. Okay, I could run and get some help, but you might be alone and have to do this yourself anyway. So what I'm going to do is ease the canoe on gently. I'm going to try and get one gunnel on the vehicle as far as I can. And if I can, I'm going to get 3 pads on by rocking it like that. Then I can go to the back of the vehicle and lift the canoe over that antenna and back down. I'm still going to have to adjust this a little bit, but it's on. Good. So how do I tie the canoe to the vehicle with there's clearly no attachments up here? Well, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to use some webbing, a webbing strap. I'm going to open up both back doors. I'm going to throw the webbing right through the vehicle. I'm going to throw the strap back over. So I really only have room for one strap, so I'm going to pull it right to the middle of the vehicle, and I'm going to pull down as much as I can. Then I can toss the webbing inside, close the door. That canoe is secure. I could get another one here, but they'd be very close. I might do that. I can't put one here, otherwise it'll be in the way of my head when I drive. So another trick you can do, if you don't want to run the webbing all the way underneath, maybe you don't have the headroom for your passengers, is use the post of the vehicle. I'm going to start by tying a bowline on one side and throw my rope over. Pull the bowline up, close the doors. So on the other side of the vehicle, I'm going to pass the rope through the same spot around the post. I'm going to use this as the location to tie my trucker's hitch. Put a knot way up top, a loop way up top, and pull my rope through. Cinch down hard. Finish my knot. Rope can go inside, and I'll close my doors. So to be safe, I've put 2 straps on this canoe. I've got one strap around the post, over and back, and one strap through the rear door. But they're still pretty close together, so I'm going to treat that as if I only have one strap on. And because of that, I'm going to definitely want a rope on the front and the back of the canoe. So I'm going to crawl under the vehicle, try and find some metal to tie the rope to. I want to make sure it's metal, preferably the frame of the vehicle. And I'm going to do the same thing with a bowline on one side and a trucker's hitch on the other. I'm going to tie a trucker's hitch here, but I'm not going to finish it off the way I always do. I'm just going to cinch it down a little bit, and then I'm going to do the back. With only a narrow connection holding the canoe onto the vehicle, the canoe is going to seesaw a little bit, and I might be able to come back and get more slack out of the system. Okay, back here I've got a real problem. I've gone underneath and I can't find anything to tie my rope to. So I'm going to pop the trunk. So what I'm going to do now is tie a nice big fat bowline. Okay, with a nice big loop. I'm going to throw that loop into the trunk, either side of the trunk hitch. Pull it fairly close. Close the trunk. Pull it some more. Now I've got a rope to tie. Something you really want to consider when tying your canoe down is the geometry of the lines that you use to secure it to the vehicle. In this case, I have a fore and aft line, both on a slanted angle. They're parallel to each other. This is going to result in forces on the canoe both down and forwards. And if the canoe isn't secured very well, that will result in a force forward, pulling the canoe forward, that will eventually loosen it and could destabilize the canoe. So in the case of the van, I had two very secure tie-down points holding the canoe right to the roof rack, and the fore and aft lines were just safety lines. They weren't cinched very tightly, so I didn't really worry about the geometry. Now with a smaller vehicle and only one tie-down point, I'm much more concerned about the geometry. Those forces are going to pull the canoe both down and forward, and the resulting forward force has a higher chance of loosening that canoe and destabilizing it as I'm driving. So the trick is to tie your canoe in a different location. That way you create a different angle. The lines should not be parallel. In this configuration here, the forces are both down, forwards, and backwards. So the resultant force is straight down. The forward force and the backward force cancel each other out, and your canoe is going to be more secure on your vehicle. So I could tie this here, where the handle is. It's almost straight. I could move the canoe further ahead to make it very straight, or again I could reach up to the seat before I tie my knot. There we go. Loop it around the seat and make my trucker's hitch there. There we go. That's going to be really tight. Okay, I've tied the back, and now I'm going to pull down even harder on the front. Now I'm going to tie her tight. This is going to make the rope on the back even tighter. Take a close look at how the tension has squished the cushions and has even indented the roof of the vehicle. I really don't want this canoe any tighter. I've only got 1/2 inch gap here. That canoe is on solid. It's not going anywhere.